welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm going to answer your questions in my monthly Q&A. Every month, I put up a picture on Instagram announcing the Q&A. You guys ask your questions, and I try and answer as many as possible. So thanks for everybody for participating in this month's Q&A session. Of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today, I am rocking the Hulk. I really like this watch. A lot of people have been saying, Federico, do you actually like it? You haven't been wearing it much. I have a lot of watches, so I try and give them all a little bit of love. But the Hulk is back on the wrist, right where it belongs. And also, before we get started, quick little shout out. I got a whole bunch of new stock at delraywatch.com, my website where I buy, sell, and trade pre-owned timepieces. I got a Tudor Black Bay Bronze, a Tudor Black Bay Chrono, an Omega Seamaster Ceramic, a Nomos Orion Anthracite, a Speedy Reduced, and a very cool full kit vintage Jaeger-LeCoultre Master Mariner. It has the box, the papers, a JB Champion bracelet, and the original price tag for $105 when it was originally sold. Unfortunately, price has gone up a little bit since then. But if you guys are interested in those and a lot more, please take a look at delraywatch.com. Link in the description below. So let's get right into the Q&A. And if you guys see me staring at here, I'm just reading the questions off of my computer screen. I'm not trying to be rude. So, let's jump in. iTristan17 says, Royal Oak or Nautilus? Man, this one is a toughie. Now, the market definitely says Nautilus. But the Royal Oak is no slouch, especially the blue dial. It holds value pretty well. Honestly, I think the Royal Oak is made better. The bracelet is beefier. The movement is more modern. I think the finishing is more impressive. But I'm still a Nautilus fan. I don't know. I think the design is just better, in my opinion. I think it's more distinctive. Now, is it worth the 50 grand people are asking for them and they're actually selling for? Absolutely not. But in the Royal Oak versus Nautilus battle, unfortunately, I'm a Nautilus guy. Parlay Guy says, how to polish a circa 1970s Rolex crystal? Can I do it at home? Well, buddy, if it's acrylic, what you're gonna want to do is go on Amazon.com and buy something called Polywatch. And it's an abrasive polishing gel that you put on the acrylic crystal and you rub. And if the scratches aren't too deep, it should do a pretty great job at making the crystal nice and fresh. If the scratches are a little bit deep, then you're going to have to go to a polisher. Might cost you $20, and he's going to put the acrylic on a polishing wheel with some compound, and it should get those scratches out. If they're really, really deep, though, you're going to have to replace that crystal. J-Watch, do you still have the Abarth? Yes, I still have the Fiat 500 Abarth. Big guy, little car, but who cares? That thing sounds glorious, and I'm gonna probably say one of the best four-cylinder exhaust notes in history. Am I gonna upgrade? Yeah, I'm looking into that, but that car really puts a smile on my face. A.A. Rechigam, probably butchered that. What would be the best vintage timepiece I can get for between $1,000 and $1,500? Well, I'm going to say it right away. Omega Chrono Stop. Single push piece, half a chronograph because it doesn't really have the registers. They come in a bunch of different colors. I think these are one of the sleepers in vintage watches. You might be lucky like me and pick one up for $400, but that's probably no longer the case. But if you can get one for just under $1,000, I would absolutely go with an Omega Chrono Stop. Jilly Ziardek. Why does Bremen have bad resale acceptance and value? Jesus. Where to start? Me and Bremen don't have a great relationship. I don't particularly like the brand. I've made a video about it. I'll link it right up here. Why do they have bad resale value? Because the value that the retail values they put on their watches are ridiculous. I mean, some of the absolute worst in the industry. Do they make well-made watches? Yes. Do they make fashionable watches? Yes. Do they make cool-looking watches? Absolutely. Do they have decent marketing? Sure. But honestly, they're a watch brand that's more of a stylized watch brand than horology. I think they're a little bit more style over substance, and also their retail prices are just absolutely ridiculous. Would I own a Bremen? Sure, but I'd own one at 20 cents on the dollar pre-owned. The Botanil. If you could have only one Omega, Seamaster or Speedmaster, which would you have? Well, if I can only have one Omega, it would be the Speedy. Now, I've owned both. I love both. One Omega, it would be the Speedy. Now, if it was only one watch and it was Seamaster or Speedmaster, I'd probably go Seamaster just because it's a little bit tougher. But if I can have multiple watches and only one Omega, definitely the Speedy for me. Just 841, Datejust or Globemaster? Globemaster is a fantastic watch. 8900 caliber movement, METAS ultra accurate certification, more modern size, fantastic watch. But in terms of who won that battle, I mean, the Datejust absolutely spanked the Globemaster. Why is that? Well, apart from the Rolex versus Omega thing, the Globemaster just never found its classic proportions. The design is a little bit off. The Datejust is a forever classic. Is the Globemaster maybe a more superior horological device? Sure, I think it is. Is it a great watch? Absolutely. But which of the two is more iconic, is more future-proof? Gotta be the Datejust, man. Coolsa 3. Early 2000s Panerai radio mirror with outsourced movements, the Eddas. Would you buy them over the modern in-house variations? Absolutely. Why? They're much cheaper, and Panerai was never about the movements. Panerai was always about the case and the design, the Italian styling, the rugged case structured for military use. They were never supposed to be refined movements. That's why Edda was such a perfect movement for a Panerai. Not to mention, I think spending $9,000, $10,000 on a Panerai is a little nutty, if you ask me. So for me, it would be the Edda movements all the way. The Watch Guy 90. How do you personally store your watches? Well, before Del Rey Watch, I had them just in a watch box, in my closet. Now I keep them in a safe because I have a safe for the business, so I have a place to put them. But honestly, just kind of pretty much scattered all over the place. Even right now on my desk, I got my Breitling, I got a Reverie, I got an SKX, I got a Luminor, I have a System 51, and these are all just laying on my desk. I'm not a very organized person, unfortunately. But I'd like to say in a watch box, they just don't always make it there. Fluffy Freak 505, great name. How do you feel about Richemont buying back stock from ADs to dry up the gray market supply? How do they go about destroying those watches? Well, Fluffy, what do I think? I think it's the only way to clear up the gray market. I think Richemont is hurting right now, but I think ultimately it's a great business decision for them. Does it suck for me? Yeah, I can't get any stock. Does it suck for you? Sure, you're going to be paying higher prices. But as a business, it's a smart decision. How do they go about destroying them? Well, I don't think they actually truly destroy it 100%. I think they take out the movements, they save those. If it's precious metals, they melt down the cases. If not, they just keep everything for spare parts for future repair. But honestly, it's a really smart move by Richemont. Do I like it? No, I don't. But it makes sense. Crown Mover. Can back hacking a movement damage it? That's, if a movement doesn't hack and you move the second hand backwards, the crown backwards, the second hand moves backward. No, it should not damage the movement if it is properly lubricated. I have asked this question to Hans many times. Lastly, Matt363, how much are you enjoying your Hulk? You don't wear it a lot. As I said in the beginning of this video, I don't wear it a lot because I try and spread out my watch love to more pieces in my collection. But how am I loving it? I'm absolutely adoring it. It's surpassed expectations, but it does have a few weird niggles. But I will be doing a review about this watch really soon. Anyway, guys, I gotta run. It's a Sunday. I've gotta run to my parents' house. They're cooking up lunch. But thank you so much for sticking around for another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It really does help. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.